speaker is Emma Langton-Bunker. And, we're going to round of applause. And she is a senior lawyer with the CSIRO. And she's got a phenomenal presentation for us tonight, and it's called From Neutral to First Gear, How to Drive Your Career and Manifest Your Dream Job. Let's give her a round of applause.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. All right, so as Katie-Jeyn said, I'm going to talk about how I went from neutral to first gear, how I learned to derive my career and manifest my dream job. So to start off with, I'm going to give you an overview of what my dream job is, then explain the journey of how I arrived and my catalyst for change. So my dream job, my career, is a lawyer at CSIRO, the Commonwealth Scientific and Industrial Research Organisation, and Australia's innovation catalyst for industry. If you don't know who CSIRO are, you probably won't forget after knowing that they discovered Wi-Fi from pioneering work in radio astronomy. They also invented AeroGuard, a vaccine for the deadly Hendra virus in horses, and were the world's first in securing our currency from forgery with optically variable devices on our plastic banknotes. Now, you may have noticed, but in case you haven't, it's important you know that I'm passionate about science, and in particular, enabling scientists to undertake or inspiring research to solve our greatest challenges, from plant, animal, human diseases to securing the future well-being and diversity of our planet. So, to give you some context of my career, I majored in genetics and biochemistry in the science degree after year 12, then went on to an honours research year at Monash Institute of Reproduction and Development. Please indulge me a minute to explain what my project was about. I researched the expression of a gene called CD30 to ascertain if this gene could help maintain stem cells. Stem cells are found in our bone marrow and turn into any type of cell you want in the right environment, such as a brain cell, muscle cell, or a bone cell. The broader objective of my research was to inform cures for diseases such as Parkinson's and Alzheimer's disease. Now, although I had a great project where I discovered a novel gene and co-authored a paper in Nature, lab research requires a lot of dedication, patience, and is also a very narrow focus. I thought, how can I enable scientists, instead of being so narrow, to go broader with their breakthroughs, and instead of painstakingly doing hundreds of experiments from which to then analyse? So instead of embarking on a career in pure research, I decided to merge it with another discipline. Now, I loved legal studies at school, and my father's influence was a catalyst here, advising me that intellectual property at a time when sequencing the human genome would promise a successful future. This sounded like an exciting path for me. So off I went to study 4 years of law, then completed a 6-month training in graduate diploma in legal practice, and secured a job at a very small law firm that specialised in intellectual property law, but in trademarks, not in biotechnology. So again, led by my dad, who thought having law wasn't enough, I went off and studied a Masters of Intellectual Property Law, which the top firms mandated for their staff. Now this, I thought, would prove my dedication to any future employer that I was serious about intellectual property law. Yes. Now, that wasn't to be, as 6 months later, the firm I worked at couldn't afford me as a qualified solicitor and let me go. The next few jobs I took were not in a law firm, but not having gone through the normal legal articles route at a time when the legal graduate positions were very scarce back in 2003, I instead secured a job at a legal training institute called the Leo Custon Centre for Law. Fast forwarding my career now to 2009, I had quite a varied experience in the law behind me. I joined Victoria Police's logistical support branch. Now, the role was varied, but I had no legal support and I was managed by an inspector. So I knew this wasn't the right role for me to grow in because I was wanting to practice law. So I was lucky, though, that a more aligned position came up within the Victoria Police in the Legal Services Division as a senior solicitor, and I secured that role in 2011. My specialty became general commercial contracts with a focus on trademarks, copyright and information technology contracts. I was very lucky to have a manager who was like a friend and believed completely in me and my abilities. This was so important to me because I was told when I was 10 by my school teacher that I had limited ability. For a long time in my life, I often thought I was never good enough, so gaining confidence in a role was extremely important to me. After 3 years as a senior solicitor, I was more than ready to take on bigger challenges. However, life got in the way, and my dad was diagnosed with cancer. I thought, I have to stay here in case I have to take time off, and I knew I could do this because I had the confidence in that role I could do it. Not that my family asked this of me, these were my thoughts alone. But what else were these thoughts telling me? It wasn't until a few more years had passed that I knew what it was. So I chose the safe option and went into neutral and coasted along in my career to wait to see how things would turn out with my dad's health. As things turned out, my dad had an operation, and then later on they detected another cancer, which needed aggressive chemotherapy. Despite my concerns, my parents didn't need me, and nor did I need to take time off. So my parents went through all this, so realising I didn't need to take time off, I was yet again getting itchy feet, asking my manager, I need some more challenges, and I took on a role as a comment at Victorian Government Solicitor's Office. This was a great opportunity, but I came back to the same position. I wasn't inspired, and clearly something was missing. I realised that I stayed in my role at Victoria Police for such a long time wasn't because my dad had been diagnosed with cancer. I realised I was making excuses to stay, to be stuck on the hamster wheel, because I was safe in my career. Now, this mindset got me stuck in a rut for 7.5 years when I was not performing meaningful work for me. So I learned from my experience at Victoria Police to go from neutral to first gear. I had to drive my career and give up the safety of my cocoon, and belief in myself was paramount to making this happen. So you're probably wondering, how did I go from neutral first gear and how did I manifest my dream role? Well, it wasn't until July 14, specifically last year, when I was sitting in the audience like you are tonight at this Ambitious Leaders Network, and I was inspired by the guest speaker, Joe Begbie, who's here tonight. Thank you, Joe. Who's also a colleague at Victoria Police. And hearing Joe's story that night, how she created her dream job, changed my life. I then took action and attended Katie-Jeyn's How to Accelerate Your Career in 12 Months or Less training, where most people wanted the same thing as me, their dream job. So the touchstone of how to manifest is getting clarity on what you want. And what I had to do was I had to put it down in detail, in writing, what I wanted, such as the people I wanted to work with, the type of people, the location from home, and even the salary. Most importantly, though, I had to believe I had the role. Once I believed I had it, more than half my work was done, as my mindset was the most critical ingredient. There's lots of other tools I learned from Katie-Jeyn, such as being patient, as timing is not as fast as you think, and care, but not that much. So here are my results from manifesting my dream role. I've got a job that aligns with my soul and passion for science. Yay. I've got meaningful and challenging work. I've got a very large supportive commercial team from which I can learn more. It's closer to home and an increased salary. So to wrap up, I'd like to give you a career acceleration power tip. To be the driver of your career and go from neutral to first gear, you have to have a mindset that aligns with your chosen destination. So you'll have success when you have the right mindset where you want to go. And like I did with my career, don't be afraid to give up the good to go for the great.
Oh, and it's called How to Accelerate Your Career in 12 Months or Less. And how long did you take?
I joined in July last year, and I got the role offer in, I think, September.
12 months or less.
Yes.
And,
Yes,
Emma hit the boundary condition, which I also call career sabotage, far later in life. She'd already had a lot of success in her career. We all hit it at some point. And, but then you did something about it. And it was challenging in the beginning, wasn't it? Yeah? But she landed her dream job. So let's give her a round of applause.